Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and getting ready for the big countdown tomorrow night for 2026. Can you believe it? We made it through 2025, and what a year it was. It was a great year. It was a tough year. It was a rough year. It was a fantastic year. A lot of challenges, but a lot of wonderful things as well. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Henry Soto, and I'm here in the mornings. Trying to be a little more consistent in the mornings. I was doing 7 a.m. Because the family is home, holidays season. It's been a little bit sporadic during the week, at least this week anyway. It's only Tuesday, so I will be back tomorrow and the rest of the, well, maybe not New Year's Day. We'll see how it goes on New Year's evening. But we are here, and one of the reasons I'll give you a little rundown here of something that I read here, just to give you a quick understanding of what this is all about and why I do this. I don't know why I do this. Some people think I'm crazy, and sometimes I think I'm crazy, but I love doing this, and just hearing from one of you that you enjoy this, to me, makes it worth it. Makes me want to get up and do it just for that one person. And if it's two people, Lord help us. It's fantastic. All right. So there's a live morning space. It's for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. On this show, let me just give you a heads up here. We talk about positivity, not the fluffy kind, but we talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We also highlight good things that are happening in the industry. We share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice. And most importantly, have honest conversations, because this is a live show. So you're all willing, you're all able, and if you're willing to communicate and write your comments there while we're live, or even if we're not live, I'll still read the comments afterwards. This is a live show, so if you're here, like I said, feel free to ask questions or join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And one of the reasons why I do this is because it's something that I wish I had, you know, uh, growing up, where there's, not that we're all, that this is only for people that are younger. This is for everyone. But I wish there was a space where you can go to, one of the places that I used to go to, and this is it's going to sound cheesy, and I'm going to embarrass myself here, which I tend to do quite often, and it doesn't bother me for some reason. But I watched Mr. Rogers. Yes, I said it. I watched Mr. Rogers religiously as a child. I grew up with Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is sort of like his words and his wisdom and his empathy, his gratitude for existence, his faith, all those things really guided me as a child. And I just remember just sitting there riveted, and always felt, and this is one of the things that he's very well known for, that I always felt like he was talking to me, and I learned so much from watching Mr. Rogers. And that's the kind of communication that I was hoping to grow up to be able to do. Unfortunately, I have not made that, but I do my best to try to communicate clearly, honestly, and sincerely with everyone that I run into, and with the idea that if anything I say can actually impact their lives in a positive way, then I want to try to find those words and try to figure out what those words are. Try to say something positive, because that to me is really the key factor of life, is for us to impinge positivity into each other's lives so we can move society forward and do better in life. And so I do that here in the mornings. I do it with a lot of different tools that I actually utilize in my life. If you've watched me before, I talk a lot about the way to happiness. Can never get the glare out of there, but there it is. The Way to Happiness, a common sense guide to better living. And I've done shows on the 21 precepts. I've done 21 shows that you can go watch and go and get an idea of what they are. I read them directly. So I use that as part of it. And on Sunday nights, I have a show that I do with my cousin George Batista, who's a wellness coach and a musician and a great artist. And we actually have a show on. We talk about film, we talk about art, and we're going to be talking about, in 2026. We're going to be doing the foundation. It's going to be Star Trek, because we're both Star Trek, and our show originally started because of Star Trek. We actually had a Star Trek show, And what we did was we built a bridge between Star Trek and the rest of the world and life. And so we would take the themes that would happen in these episodes, and we would apply them to certain things that are happening in life. And it was a lot of fun, and we had some great guests from Star Trek on the show, and we had an amazing time. And we thought, let's move on to interview some other people. And we've been fortunate where we've interviewed Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artists. We've interviewed award-winning filmmakers, incredible people in business. We've had doctors, George Batista, who has his own show, Wellness Talk with George Batista. He's interviewed some of the top leading doctors in the country, wellness coaches, professionals, but doctors that are on the holistic side and can understand what's happening in the world. And really, really just some great, great content that we've been putting together. And it's under the umbrella of JHS Talent Management, all of it. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful place for us to really give something back that we've run into. And the show started that way, and now we decided we're going to go back and start bringing those episodes back and those films and have fun conversations, and at the same time, elevate our awareness into other parts of life and talk about the way to happiness and talk about all the things that I always talk about. I have some other things that I'm going to be talking about more often in the next. I think I don't have them here in front of me, but I'm going to be talking about drug-free world material as well, and that's going to be a wonderful thing. So, what is this all about? This whole idea that what we're doing on the Sunday night show. I want to do these are some announcements before we get to today's show. But in 2026, we're going to boldly go into a Star Trek themed show. And don't worry, like I said before, nothing gets left behind. We're going to still be talking about creativity, life, purpose, culture, and the big questions that we all have, just through the lens of starships, captains, and the final frontier. It's the same heart, it's the same conversations, but now it's going to be a little bit more at warp speed. Yes, I went there. I'm corny. Do I care? Nope. All right, so we're gonna get started here. Some of the topics, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of some of the 10 topics that I talk about mostly, and then we're gonna go into today's topic, which is when fear freezes creativity and stops momentum, which happens as an artist. I cannot tell you how many times I've frozen and have not moved forward where I should have been flying on a rocket ship. I'm here on a rowboat in the middle of the ocean, lost at sea, and that happens. It happens to all of us, and this is what we're going to talk about. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today's episode is fear of failure. That's number one. Waiting for permission, something that no one can crown you as an artist. You're an artist. You were born into it. You stepped into it. That is what you are. So we're not waiting for permission. Um, Addiction and self-destruction. That's another thing that we talked about with the drug-free world material that I'm going to be bringing in, plus the way to happiness material as well. Comparison. Remember, I mean, comparing yourself as a kid. You compare yourself to the guy who has the pretty girl or the money, or as an adult, you compare yourself to the family that has the beautiful house, and they look like they have the perfect family, and constant comparison when you're comparing yourself as an actor, as an artist. Look what they're doing, and why am I not doing that? It's just a cancer. It just destroys creativity. um, Chasing validation over truth. Lack of discipline. This is a big one. If you're not disciplined, just forget about it. Forget about it. Bad influences. That expression from Jim Rohn, where he says, "You are the average of the five people you spend the most time with." Jim Rohn. That is 100% true. If you're hanging out with, you know, I don't mean to be mean, but if you're hanging out with losers, you're a loser. You're going to become a loser. If you're hanging out with winners, you become a winner. If you're hanging out with people that are proactive, and they're always pro survival activities, they're always doing things to move the needle forward. You will also continue to move the needle forward. If you hang out with someone that's always like, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know if anybody wants, you fall into that trap and you become that. So it doesn't mean that you have to separate yourself from them, but you do have to kind of recognize what you're around and start distancing yourself from that, or at least just communicate and say, "Hey, knock that out. That's BS. We're not going that route." Um, Giving up too early. Never give up. Keep going. You never know when it's right around the corner. the success, forgetting the why. Why were you an artist? Why was the first thing that ignited that fire in you, that excited you? What was that why? Don't ever forget that. And then believing that you don't matter. Every artist, every human being, every single soul on this planet matters. And you have to really know that for yourself. Me saying it ain't gonna do jack. You have to be able to say that for yourself. All right. So today we're gonna be talking about fear. When fear freezes you, and when you fear is interesting. It has a way of freezing artists in place. Not because they lack talent, but because creating something meaningful makes them vulnerable. And it truly does. When your work comes from the heart, fear whispers that you might fail, be judged, or waste time chasing something uncertain. I've run into this recently where I did not want to present something on a camera because I felt that I was going to be judged, and because I felt that I'm trying to achieve something in one direction, and I thought that might sway me or sway people's opinions or views of me. And I fell into fear, and that's not who I am. I am this, what you see here. I'm a little Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and I've made it out. And now I've dedicated my life to helping others, and to creating art, and to inspiring, and to raising a family, and to being part of my church, and to be part of the world, and to be part of society, and to live to the fullest. That's who I am. I shouldn't fear things, but there I was, and this was not that long ago. A couple of days actually. um so we all run into it. So that hesitation can quietly stop momentum. Ideas stay in notebooks, songs remain unfinished, films never get made. Not because the artist can't do the work, but because fear convinces them it's safer not to try. The tragedy isn't failure, it's the slow erosion of purpose when creativity is postponed until later. We should never wait until later. This is the biggest crock of crap. Is that a word? That there is, when people say, well, why don't you wait and do this first, or do that, or no, the time is now. We have all the tools in the world to be successful. This is the crazy part of where the time that we're living in right now. Think about it. I am communicating right now from my home. There's the Christmas tree behind me. I have my wife's art on the walls. Um, I'm sitting here, and I'm live right now in 4 different platforms, speaking and communicating. These tools are available to all of us. Every single person who has an internet connection or a cell phone. You don't even need a computer. You do it all on your phone right here. I'm live here on another platform here as well. And it's just a wonderful time to be an artist, and a wonderful time to be alive. Everyone reflects on the AI situation. Yes, AI is creating a disruption that's never been felt before, and everyone is in fear. But remember that AI can never replace you as a being, you as an artist, you as a spiritual being that's going to go on for eternity. AI will never be able to replace that. It is just zeros and ones, very very well maintained, to to create what we've already done in our lives, and to put it together into little pieces and to give it to us. It's not real. So those prompts that people are doing for those videos, and whatever prompts come in the future, is just spoken from someone that it is already created. It's not even nothing that it ever gets put out on AI is original. Think about that for a second. Not one bit of data that AI spits out has been original. It was created by a human being with a soul. Whether you believe in souls or not doesn't matter to me. I believe you are. And that, to me, states how AI should not interfere with your creativity as a spiritual being. It is so important for us to really truly understand that. And I love that we have this ability here. We have the technology, we have tools. We can make, if you're a filmmaker, you can make a film with your phone. Not, I'm just saying that you can. There are festivals all across the country where people are making films with their phones. As a matter of fact, there was a filmmaker, very famous filmmaker, and I can't remember now the full story. So I'm not going to give full, but actually, what happened was they were shooting big production, and they closed down a production. And they forgot they needed one shot of something. The guy pulls out his iPhone, grabs the shot with his iPhone. He edits it, and that's it in the film, a big giant film with an iPhone. And it looks just what you will never tell unless you see it and you're like into and you're a stickler. You can't even tell anyway, even if you are a stickler. They can't, if they put those shots side by side, you will never know which shot is why. Because these phones and this technology with the 4K technology in the phones themselves gives us great quality, so we can actually put out something. The lighting, the structure, the filmmaking techniques, all those things have to be in place as well. You can't just put, you have to do some studying. You have to study film. You never fully learn film. You just learn enough where you can shoot your next one. Look at Scorsese. The guy still looks at his old work and says, I should have done this. I should have done. Scorsese, award winning filmmaker. All filmmakers do that, and actors as well. You can always be learning something. So, but the tools are all there. And even if you want to learn, you can go online on YouTube. There's thousands, if not millions, of videos just on how to shoot film, the angles, the different, all of the different techniques, all the different lenses, all that. It's right on YouTube. If you wanted to do it, you can do it. If you're a musician, I mean, I can't. If you play an instrument, you play guitar, a piece of paper and a pen and your guitar, and I think you're good to go. You start writing songs. You start going to sit around circles and do these writing sessions and do these meetups and just play your songs in a group and get opinions from people and put them out, record them, put some money together, get a recording studio in your house, which you can do today at for pennies compared to what it was, 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. It's an incredible time to be alive if you're an artist. So the freezing up part, it comes from the fact that we don't want to be judged. We don't want people to look at our stuff and say, "Oh, we don't like it." And that's that's the thing about being an artist, is that you will never ever 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 make every single person happy. Every filmmaker has someone who they don't like that film, whether it's Scorsese, Spielberg, Tarantino, all these brilliant filmmakers. There are people out there who don't like them, who just don't like their films. So it happens. So you will never, never please everyone. The only person you can really, really disappoint is yourself for not taking that first step and not starting to shoot and not writing those songs and not painting that art and not writing that book or that starting that blog or doing that YouTube channel that you've been talking about, where you want to cook different ways. You have 100 ways of making eggs, 100 ways of cooking chicken, whatever the case may be that you want to do. Now is the time to do it. It's the easiest time ever to put these things together, and it's an exciting time. So, all right. So we got a couple of things here. If anybody has any questions, by the way, please just shoot them in there and let me know. If you have any questions on this platform as well, please let me know. Hope I didn't miss any questions. Let me just go back here real quickly. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Good. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So here are three things that you can do that will help you move. This is three things. I just throw down three things. There's thousands of things that you can do, right? I talk about this all the time with the different art. I talk about it. Let's say you're an actor, right? I remember when in New York, when I was going on a lot of different auditions, I would go to 5 or 6 auditions. Once I went on 7 auditions. What was it? Seven auditions in a week, but 4 of them were in one day. That was like a record. for me. And it was going running around the city and getting to, it was really, really insane. But it was a wonderful time. And one of the things that I used to do, and it would freeze me up, is that I would think, and I had so much suppression around me where I felt that what I was doing, no one was taking seriously, or people were judging me on it, or I felt that people just thought, well, it's not making any money, so it's not really that important, or whatever was around me was cancer. And it brought me down to a level where I would show up at auditions feeling like I knew I was not going to get anything. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to get it, and you know what happened? I didn't get a lot of these big opportunities that I had because I had this cancer over me. And it is a cancer because it spreads. And once it spreads all over you, you spread it to other people, and then it's just a nasty, nasty thing. So one of the things that I started doing was that I took the advice of another actor friend of mine that told me, you know what, when you go on an audition, plan something else to do right after the audition. Either meet someone for coffee, go meet someone if they're working, if you know where they're, my cousin George used to work in Manhattan. So I would get out on audition. I would walk over to his office and I would go hang out in his office, and probably shouldn't be there because he's working, but I would just show up and just wave and then just hang out for a few minutes, talk to a few people there. And that became kind of a thing where I would get my mind away from this audition where I didn't have to dwell on the next one coming up. And then when I was ready to go, I was like, oh, I got to go to my next one. I'm already I'm already feeling better because I was around someone that's positive and I was around someone that made me feel better. Or I would make a phone call. I would call at the time, early on when I started acting, I would call my mom. I would call before she passed away in 2009. I would call my agent. I had a manager. I would call my manager and say, hey, I'm going to this audition right now. It's for this and this and this. What are your thoughts? If they can take my call. And that's what I would do. And I would just try to plan something, meet somebody for coffee or go somewhere. That was the technique that I used to try to kind of get away from not freezing up at the audition because I was kind of walking in feeling a lot better. So these are just three random things, right? The first one is take the smallest possible action, one paragraph, one riff, one scene. Motion breaks fear's grip. So, like writing, for instance, right? Writing is I love writing, but getting to write sometimes is a difficult thing because it's so daunting because I have this world in my head. I have a new film that I'm almost done, completed with the writing process. I've gone back already. It's on the third draft, and it's a short film. It's another short film that I'm putting together, and I have to cast it now, and I have to go back and I have to reread it again. But you know what I do? I go back and I just read it. That's my job. I'm going to go back and read what I'm writing. And as I'm reading it, I realize I can tighten dialogue up. I can take scenes out that I feel like, okay, that really doesn't move the movie. It doesn't move the story forward. It doesn't take me anywhere. It doesn't really need it. I just kind of like the idea of it. And then that becomes a mistake when you just fall in love with the shot, but the shot really doesn't do anything, right? And it's much better to do it on paper that when you get there and you shoot it and then you go back into the editing room and now you're editing and you're like, this really doesn't move, but it took so much to get this shot. So make your film before you actually make your film, right? Make it as close to what you're looking for as you possibly can. Yes, on the day of the shoot, it's going to be different. But if you just take the smallest steps and just take that next step on the writing process or on the casting, whatever it is. If you're a songwriter, sit down with your guitar and just come up with a couple of chords that sound cool together and write them down. If that's a small step you can take, just do that. This way, the freezing and oh, can I write another song, or can I, or is it going to be good, or am I going to be judged, or whatever that thing is that comes in, which is part of the mind has this. There's two sections of the mind, right? There's the analytical mind, which I can talk about, and I will talk about in the future. There's the analytical mind, the part that looks at things and analyzes it correctly and says, yeah, that is that thing. And it's normal. And then there's the reactive one where it looks at it and says, hey, I remember something that really hurt back then that sounds just like this. This must be the same thing. Now I feel the same way that I did back then, which is irrational, right? Behavior. And that's these two parts are always constantly fighting. And as an artist, man, I tell you, the reactive part, woo, that thing will kick in on you. And if you don't have tools to to get away from it and to erase it and to clear it out of your universe, you will be very very troubled for a very very long time. Yes, there are people that use religion. They pray. They go to they use working out. They eat well. All these things are important to have in your life. So these are all actions that you can do. Small actions. Number two is detach your identity from the outcome. Don't think that your worth you know um is defined by applause or by views. How many views do I get? Or by how is this going to be approved? Is this approval going to be so, what I need? Don't think that way, because that's not who you are. You're an artist. You're an artist first. Yes, you want people to watch it, but if you don't have your art and you're not confident in your art, and if you're only creating for the views, or you're only creating for the money, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn yourself out, because if you go 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 6 months, a year, and it doesn't happen for you, you're going to be discouraged anyway, and you're going to quit, because you're not doing it for the art. You're doing it for the approval. You're doing it for the views. You're doing it for the applause, right? If you're doing it for those reasons, I'm telling you, it's going to disappoint you if you don't get there in a short amount of time. And that's where you have to kind of think of this as the long game. I mean, is there a shelf life to be an artist? Like, I don't know. Is that like, okay, well, I expire, my art expires at this time. That's ridiculous, right? No, you're an artist. You stepped into being an artist. You were born to be creative, and you've done it enough where you've realized you have something to offer. That doesn't expire. So don't look at it like, okay, I need to make this happen now or else. That doesn't work that way. You have to do it because you love to do it. And when you love it, it turns out, as Rick Rubin says, you don't do it for the audience, you do it for yourself. And as it turns out, when you do the art for yourself, it's the best thing that you can do for the audience. And that is the way, those are the three things that I would say to really follow. Take the small steps, detach yourself from your identity from the outcome, and create on a schedule, not by emotion. Be disciplined. Actually, I didn't give you the third one. I went right to two. So number three is create on a schedule, not by emotion. Discipline carries you forward when confidence disappears. Like doing this. This is a discipline, right? I I meet a lot of people here. I make some money from meeting people, from networking and stuff, but this does not generate a paycheck, right? It doesn't, like, I don't get a check saying podcaster check from the podcasting company. I don't get that, but this is a discipline. It's because I know that I'm providing value. I know that this is what I love to do. I love to help artists. I love to take some of the little knowledge that I have in certain areas and give them to whoever can use them and utilize them and make and be successful. That's what I love doing. So that's why I do this. But it is discipline, because there are mornings when I would, when my son goes back to school and my wife goes back to work and all this stuff is back. I'm back here at 7 o'clock in the morning and getting up at 6 a.m. I got to take my son to school, and you got to sit here. You're tired, splash some cold water in your face, get a cup of coffee, sit down, and then start this conversation. And sometimes it's a difficult conversation to have, because you're not feeling it. Maybe I'm going through my own freezes, I'm going through my own challenges, right? Deep breath, and remember all the things that I talked about. Remember what your why is. Remember why you do this. Remember the discipline part. Remember the taking the small action. Just do it and go and move forward. And just think to yourself, if this helps one person, it'll be worth it. And that is the tools that I use. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my talk. I hope this was helpful for you. I really care about you. I really do. I know it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny. I don't really care. I'm a corny dude. I cry at life insurance commercials. When that music comes on and they're trying to figure out life insurance for grandma and grandpa, I lose it, man. But it's true. I cry. I cry at songs. I was watching a reaction video where somebody was reacting to Tom Jones singing uh one of this amazing song that he sung, I think in 1963 or maybe earlier than that. And she started crying, and then I started crying, and I'm just watching this is a video. I'm just weeping because I'm emotionally charged because she is. And that's how music and that's how art works. It touches you deeply emotionally. It makes you feel something so special that only an artist has that power, and that's why we're so valuable to this planet. And that's why it's so important that you push away these negative thoughts and these people that are around you, and just keep moving forward and keep pushing there, because it it can save someone's life. It saved my life. I can tell you that with 100% certainty, that music saved my life. And now film, music, helping others, these things are part of who I am, and it saves me every single day. And when you find that for yourself, it is so valuable. You have to hold on to it, and you have to protect it. You have to protect it. Protect your art, protect your integrity. You have to get out there and you have to do it. And I love you all for that. I love artists that are out there making it happen. I want you all to be successful. I really, really, truly do. And if you have any questions or if you need anything, please message me on any of these platforms that you see this on. And I would love to help you in any way that I possibly can. I'm a wealth of networking knowledge. I know a lot of people in a lot of different industries. And if you need that, I want to help you. I really, really do. I love to help people. And I love to help artists. And I love you all. And I'm thankful that you're here. God bless you all for being here. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I will be here at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I will see you at 7 a.m. sharp Central. So if you're on the East Coast, it's 8 a.m. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about waiting for permission. That is our next one on our docket. We're going to talk about waiting for permission. Do we need permission as an artist? No, we do not. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day out there. Take care of yourself. Take care of others as well. Take care of each other. And I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, peace.